All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. All right, I'm going to be talking about something that just irritates me because it's on classic rock websites. And I'm just, why? Why does this story go over to classic rock radio? I don't get it. I don't understand it. If you don't play it, and you don't typically talk about it, why is it on your website? All right. So before I get to that, and it involves Dave Grohl again for the 1 billionth time. Um, this is an album from 3 years ago. Simon Collins. Who's Simon Collins? Sounds like he could be related to Phil. Yeah, he I think is Phil Collins's oldest son. This album came out 3 years ago. Like I said, it's called Becoming Human. And if you like Phil, and then maybe some Peter Gabriel thrown in, and maybe some Depeche Mode as well. I mean, this thing is just a juggernaut. Super well produced. I was talking about it 3 years ago, and I even said, if you're going to replace Phil, say Phil can't perform anymore and Genesis stops touring, which those two things are true now. Simon could do it. I hear Simon's had a few issues, personal issues. Uh, I don't know. It's sad because when you listen to him sing, it's like Phil. It's like, here's Phil. Here's a younger version of Phil. And he could sing all of the Genesis material and be very convincing. He could do Phil's solo material, and he could just do stuff that he wants to do in addition to that. And I think people would put up with it because the voice is there. And anyway, folks, just a few thoughts on Simon Collins, who you may or may not know about. You hear a lot about Nick Collins these days, and you should, because Nick is pretty talented. But Simon, pretty good. You know what's not pretty good, though? Hearing stories about the Butthole Surfers. You're saying, who are the Butthole Surfers, right? Well, yours truly went through college radio back in the 1980s. That's right. I was the program director, the station manager. I did everything I could at this college radio station back from, say, 1983 or 4 up until I left. And then I had dreams that I was still doing it later on. Up until 87. I think I let go of the reins of the whole thing right before the last semester because I was just too bummed out. But I really had a good time at college radio. And I could say this, the Butthole Surfers, they were a thing, right? And it has to probably do more with their name and their image and all of this rebellion and anarchy and just really bad stuff. I didn't really like the music. My favorite band in college was a band from Australia called the Hoodoo Gurus, right? And you can find their music and it's listenable, right? It's not a whole bunch of noise and stupidity. Well, Dave Grohl, Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers, who were also bubbling underground back in the 1980s. And we were playing the Red Hot Chili Peppers before they became a big deal. They're going to be featured in an upcoming Butthole Surfers documentary. Do we need a Butthole Surfers documentary? And again, this appears on all these classic rock websites. Why? Is classic rock planning to play the Butthole Surfers? I mean, this is just getting stupid because there's nothing to talk about. So we're going to bring in a twisted band from the underground 1980s. Now, the film, which has a catchy title, The Whole Truth and Nothing But, Butt, ha ha, funny, follows the Pepper outfit's career, delving into their history of infamously chaotic live shows, which featured nudity, drugs, and firearms. Three great things that you put together, as well as their influence on alternative bands to come. They were so influential. So Dave Grohl says this: the first phone call that I had talking to Kurt, that was Kurt Cobain, I was happy to find out that he was also a Butthole Surfers fan. So these are kids in the 80s who are probably listening to college radio. And I've said this before about grunge and a lot of alternative music. We were playing, there were definitely better alternative bands than the Butthole Surfers out there. But if that was your idea of art and just, pushing the envelope and doing something groundbreaking, well, I guess the Butthole Surfers were groundbreaking, right? This is depressing to me. Grohl says, if you listen to like early Nirvana, I think that sort of chaos came from his love of the Butthole Surfers, meaning Kurt Cobain's. Also in the trailer, which you can watch on YouTube, which I'm not, but if you want to go and watch it, be my guest. You've got some dude from Sonic Youth. You've got Ice-T, Henry Rollins, of course, and the late Steve Albini, as well as the Butthole Surfers members. Butthole Surfers last performed in 2017. Oh, I was thinking that all of that stayed back in the 1980s, but apparently it was as recent as 2017. In an interview published in March by The Guardian, guitarist Paul Leary shared that the band's received six-figure offers to play live, but they've turned them down. Wow. So again, I'm just flabbergasted that, number one, this is being reported in the classic rock media. Like, this goes to all the classic rock outlets. Now, the Butthole Surfers did not get any airplay on rock stations in the 80s. They were a college radio band at best, and I think they probably offended people driving down the road thinking, you know what, I'll check out, see what those crazy kids are doing at the college radio station. And I tune in, and they're playing the Butthole Surfers. Now, the best thing of playing the Butthole Surfers was that you got to announce you were playing a band actually called the Butthole Surfers, right? That was just the most amazing thing. So I'm just shocked in the year 2024 that I'm talking about this. That's 40 years ago. And nobody cared then, but now they're trying to make people care now. They've got a whole documentary coming out, and you be the judge whether or not most people are going to care. What's weird is everything seems to take on a life of its own over time. And it's bizarre how something that you think really is just garbage becomes someone else's treasure. I don't know. Just my musical tastes have certainly changed. I still like the Hoodoo Gurus, but I don't really listen to them that much. And they're like fine wine, and the Butthole Surfers is like the stuff that you see on the sidewalk when you come out of a dive bar. Sorry, just putting it out there. Simon Collins, this is cool music, right? This is a little 80s alternative-ish at times. Becoming Human, this is the good side of that, though, and not the butthole side of it. So it kind of just speaks for itself. The Butthole Surfers. Go check out the documentary. See, I'm doing my due diligence because Dave Grohl told you to do it. You better go check it out. All right. See you later.